KEF Connect. Conversations that matter. Tune in every week for interviews with industry trendsetters and community changemakers that will instill inspiration and ignite action. Visit www.kefholdings.com and click KEF Connect to listen.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Anas.
Hi, Anas.
It's nice to be back, and it's nice to be again with the listeners. I love the topic, which is For the Love of Learning. It's a great season title, and I got a sneak peek that I'm not going to mention about next season, but it's also going to be very, very exciting. KEF Connect, for the ones who are connecting now, it's a podcast under KEF Holdings. And I love this sentence. It says that embraces the stories that matter to instill inspiration and ignite action. I love that action was added to inspiration because a lot of people are inspired, but they don't do anything about it. So to mix and to combine inspiration with action, I think is a huge thing. I don't know who was responsible for this, but it's a proper one. So I want to say hi to Mr. Faizal, Mrs. Shabana, Sophiya. Good to have you again. I'm sure you're not nervous now. Or are you nervous? So Ms. Shabana says that she's nervous, although when you look at her, you never think she's nervous.
Coolest.
Yeah, and she speaks very well because she has a wealth of knowledge. I want to start with a very nice title, For the Love of Learning. I want to know why this topic was chosen. So please.
So, yeah, for me personally, education is a pillar of any development of a human being. Correct. So we always say keep learning from cradle to grave, and you'll be enriched. So I relate to my journey and successes is based on my education which I received from the parents, teachers, then friends. And it's not just the school education, your life experience itself is an education, correct? So I think that is, imbibed me in my life, and that's where, we decided to focus on giving education to millions of people across the world through our foundation. So that's the reason we have chosen this topic. Yeah.
I remember in one of our first discussions, Sophiya, you mentioned how when you visited these schools, the girls had a certain mindset because they were maybe programmed to think, I need to quickly finish school, then get married, then that's my life. But then you went back after you guys built these programs and initiatives, and the mindset
completely changed.
Exactly.
They had ambition and they just wanted to keep learning. It was, I love that moment. That's one of my favorite memories that I have.
And now I have it from you.
Yeah.
Very nice. I mean, I always like to mention Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid's vision for Dubai Cares. Is that providing access to quality primary education in developing countries is the key or the solution to breaking the cycle of poverty, which I think you're doing. You're not about let's give them money so that they can buy things or to buy food. Okay, sure, that helps you as a temporary aid, but if you really want a proper change, you teach them. You teach them how to build themselves.
Teach them how to fish.
I was thinking of that while you're speaking.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
But also the thing is they're so eager to learn as well. If given the opportunity, they grasp it, especially from the Nadkav school.
Yeah.
And you realize how for granted you took my education, because it was easy for me, like I went to school, go to college, but then for them, when I realized talking to them and then seeing their ambitions, that for them, it was so amazing that they got the opportunity to have that better education and, strive in life.
So you're talking about government schools in India, and most of these schools have 60% of the students coming from families which are below poverty line.
Yeah.
So they don't have much opportunities in life. They're not exposed to too many things in life. So it makes a big difference, and I think their mind is just... you can see the excitement when they are coming to the school. They see the environment, something which is helping them learn. So when you go there, you actually get that energy and you feel reignited. Yeah.
I've witnessed it myself because I did work for Dubai Cares, and we used to build these schools in very rural areas. And I'm like, these kids are really sad if they don't go to school. We were happy not to go to school because, like you said, it was such a comfortable access to it. These kids were like, you give them a free pencil, you just made their week.
Absolutely. In India, so when we started this program in 2013, it was called Prism. So when we, got all this wealth through our knowledge, myself and Shabana decided to go, full time into transforming this school education for the poor kids. So we said, how do we create a model and, take this model to millions of students? That was the idea. So everybody said, you're crazy, working with the government first is impossible, and making a model which is better than a private school, it's impossible. So everything is a no, and I told the people, I said, we don't expect anything, but we'll give it a shot. So 2013, we took up this project called Prism, promoting regional schools to international standards through multiple interventions, correct? So we created this model together, not just infrastructure, it's a holistic model. Today, Anas, you won't believe it, there are 151 schools in just one state, and we are doing many models in other states of India. There are more than 300,000 students, is come into this Narakawa school model and elevated their life, and I think it's one of the fastest grown public-private partnership model in India today, and that's what we are excited about. And I think, and it's not just us, it's local MLA, the local people around the school, the citizens of the Calicut districts and the neighboring cities, which is other schools have come up now. So this model is anybody can participate, correct? And everybody thought it was money is a problem. Money is never a problem. It is always the time which people want to dedicate for the betterment of other human beings is the biggest problem, what we have seen in this project, correct? So I think it's a most fulfilling, part of our lives, and that is why Faizal and Shabana Foundation, even the next generation, is getting involved deeply into transforming education. And we want to take this like the Bikers have done in Africa and other parts of the world, to collaborate with such organizations, because we have shown the model out of India now, they've shown the model out of Africa. So how do we combine together? How do we, put these learnings together and expand is what our foundation is working on.
Faisal, why would you say that money is never the problem? What did you mean?
So
and you said time. Time is the...
Yeah, time is money, we say, correct? I mean, money is just a paper. I mean, it's all about the energy of the human beings come together, it creates the wealth. Correct? And I think today the world is moving towards this I. Everything is for me. But is it for us? No, because we come and go. And that people have to realize that. People have to realize that in our journey is not just for you. It is for the future generation. So for that, I think the education is the key. If we provide all of us together, including the governments and private enterprises, private individuals, all to think of how many millions of people don't have the access to good quality education. Millions. I would say more than 30% of the students in the developing world don't have access to quality education. So this is what we need to start thinking, and that's a message we wanted to provide through these kind of discussions, correct? And these models can be replicated across the world, and money comes automatically because everybody's got access, in my opinion. And once they see, like Sophiya said, Shabana said, the smiling faces, and that is where the fulfillment comes, that you are blessed. And you need to give back.
Nice. You mentioned that education is such a key pillar for your family. How do you, all of you, how do you perceive knowledge? What does it mean to you personally? I will start with you, Ms. Shabana. What does knowledge mean to you?
It is something to be shared, for sure. Yeah. So the more knowledge you have, the more responsibility you have in yourself.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah. So, like my father used to say, in the pursuit of knowledge, I mean, I think it It was a saying, an old saying. Even if you have to go to travel to China, you
صح.
yeah.
اطلبوا العلم ولو في الصين.
Yeah.
I think Prophet Muhammad
Yes.
or something in
Yeah.
Islam was quoted.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He used to always say that. So
Yeah.
he always put that in us, that it's a very important to keep learning.
Okay.
It's not only going to school or going to college, but it has to be even outside. So from the time you wake up in the morning, your mind is open to learning something new. Anas will tell me something today, oh, I've learned something new, right? So every day you have to learn something new, and you have to share the knowledge, which is why, I mean, for the foundation, we have so many projects which we actually are sharing knowledge. Like we have the Krishnagiri Village Development Program. We had adopted 8 villages. And of course, we built a school, the formal way of education for the children. But at the same time, we used the school to teach the women skills, youth, some skill development like driving, and so they can get jobs. The farmers were taught sustainable farming.
Yeah.
So, there are so many ways you can actually share knowledge. And it's not a particular age. I think you can, till you die, like Faizal said, from womb till tomb, you keep learning and you keep sharing your knowledge. So someone should benefit from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was watching the documentary on Netflix about Bill Gates. And he would go to his little cabin. And I think he finishes at least, I can't quote it, but 1 to 2 books a week.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what makes a brain have that mindset? That you're a billionaire, you have enough money for generations to come, but why do you still seek knowledge? So it's a type of brain. It's like what your father mentioned, that you have to open your mind and learn. And it can be from the person who's doing your coffee. It can be from a CEO. You can learn so much from kids.
Yes.
So I think it's a mindset. Some people love self-education.
Yeah.
Like they'll watch a documentary and then they'll watch a YouTube video and then TEDx and then read a book and read an article. And some people are not bothered. So I'm interested to hear what your take on knowledge is. What does it mean to you?
So for me, knowledge is learning from experiences, learning from people, learning from history, to figure out how you can, as a person, better the world or life for yourself in general. At least, growing up, that's how I love learning. And when
I
you
can
explain
tell.
that.
Even from your Instagram, I remember that page you have.
Yeah.
It's all about learning.
Yeah, I'm learning about different aspects of wellness, and it's fascinating to me how much there is to learn. And so in the family, everyone makes fun of me because if something's happening, we're like, why does it rain so often? I have an explanation because I would have read it somewhere and like things like that. So for me, that's what knowledge and learning is.
Yeah. She's our encyclopedia, So
Okay.
yeah, we always go to Sophiya for an answer.
Nice.
She has an answer. So yeah.
But the trick is, if you sound confident, they'll believe you.
my brother is like that. My brother Muad, he says it so confidently, and we're like, no, that's not right. So unless you bring a fact,
Exactly.
and then he changes his mind, you're like, "Dad, you're so confident. Why? You're not even sure." Okay, so education. We started with knowledge, and now I'm gonna go to education. How do you think education impacted the way you think, Mr. Faizal, to make your business or to be a leader? How did it work for you?
So I think the previous episode I was talking, I always was curious to learn, and that's what got me out of my comfort zone from my parents' house in Calicut in India. Took me to outside the state, where everything was new to me. And I think that is where I met people, and then I realized that, what we learned at home is pretty different when you go into the real world, correct? So when you start talking to the people and you realize everybody had the basic fundamentals seems to be the same, correct? That is to do well in life, to work hard and all those things. But life out there was tough when you go outside the comfort zone. You need to make it work. So I think that taught me a lot, and that is where my sports really helped me to put me in the balance in Manipal. Took me to US. I worked and met people, started delivering pizzas at that time while studying, because that's a culture over there, because nobody, gets the money from home for your education. You need to make it on yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
You reminded me also in college.
Correct.
It would be weird if your family actually sent you money compared to the other
Absolutely.
Americans that are around you, because they're working 1 or 2 jobs, and you're like,
Yes.
so I started tutoring.
Yes.
I started teaching algebra and geometry, so I relate.
So I was living with an American family. So Frank Latinen was my housemate, his house. We were staying as a paying guest. So he said, Faizal, it's not allowed here to get money from home, from India, and you're paying for your tuition. No, I'm going to teach you driving. You need to start delivering pizza. So I was the driver for Domino's Pizza for 9 months, and it was fun. And that's where, I really learned, it's fun to work on delivering pizzas. I learned how to make pizzas. So even though they make more fun of me, Dad, you never made one pizza for us.
Did you have to deliver within 30 minutes? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the rule applied.
Absolutely, those days, and it was $6 an hour. But we used to make a lot of tips. And that's what I learned about pleasing people, to get more tips. You see, so one lead to the other, and that's why I'm a very social person. All these experiences made me like that, and I think success of my life after coming to Dubai, I was fully confident, go to a new place is never I'm afraid of. I think that is a journey got me the confidence. And when you're confident, opportunities will come, and when you're healthy, you're ready to go and attempt it, correct? So that's what I like, action. Just having education without putting into action, it's no good.
Absolutely.
So I think it played a lot in my life. I'm so blessed that, I went out and learned in multiple countries. I did civil engineering, I did environmental engineering for a few semesters. Then I did masters in industrial engineering. I did management in finance and marketing. So I just went on learning wherever I could learn, and now I'm applying all that in my life. Yeah.
But I think as a family, it's not about the formal education only. Like, they never actually asked us, how are your grades? Are you in the top percentile of your class? Even in uni, they never asked my grades. And it was all about, you try your best and you learn. As long as you're learning, that's what you do. You don't, it's not about how you rank amongst the others, but it's the experiences you have. They were more interested in what internships are you doing, Okay. What new things are you doing for yourself, rather than just your formal education, which I think is a lot more powerful.
Yesterday on Clubhouse we had a room. The topic was managing pressure, and one of the attendees was a student, and she's talking about how much pressure she puts on herself. And then I gave my feedback, and I said, we used to give ourselves so much pressure and anxiety about an exam, whether it's an A+, A-, B+. This plus and minus didn't do anything for our life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we made it this big, and it was not worth it. No. So I love the approach that you're doing with your children. It doesn't matter if you get an A+. I'm not saying get 50.
Yeah, but
get 70. You're okay. And by the way, there's, I think, a whole research how A usual students don't necessarily do well in life, because they were so obsessed about their academics, they forgot to build personal relationships, which your father is a master at, But I respect that. And you know why? Because I think, Faisal, your eagerness to meet people is also part of your learning. Yes. You like to get learnings from people and experience. It's like a shortcut. It's like a crash course.
Absolutely.
You sit with somebody who's a professional footballer.
Yes.
I'm not. So I want to know. Yep. How was it for you? Why did you do this? Why did you change?
Yeah. I had a very interesting, car journey last week, and I was in Calicut. So somebody introduced me to a very famous liver surgeon. So he came to see me in Calicut. We're driving to a hospital because, I own a hospital, being a non-medical guy. So in the car, I asked this one famous doctor, do we have 2 livers? And how he said, we have a recipient and a donor. So I suddenly said, 2 livers? No, Faisal, we have only 1 liver, but we cut the liver. Actually, we don't need that full liver. So we cut somebody's portion, which is damaged, from another donor, only that portion, and that liver will regenerate in 14 days.
Wow.
You know, suppose if we give a portion of our liver,
Yeah.
it regenerates in 14 days. And I was so surprised.
Me too. I just
Correct.
found out.
Yeah. And he said, this is how you can save lives of millions of people, you know. And, you know, I learned so much in that journey, you know, and then I became a master. I went to my doctors and said, guys, we are going to do the liver transplant now, you know, let's go for it now, you
Nice.
know. So within the same trip, we signed an MOU and, you know, we are starting a liver transplant. So that's a beauty. I mean, you don't have to know everything. You can ask the best people around you.
Correct.
And it's common sense.
Yes. Which is not so common.
Yeah.
It's not so common.
Common sense is not so common. Shabana, what books would you recommend if you even do you like reading books?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
like
what
to
would you
read.
recommend?
So, you know, I was thinking, you know, maybe Anas will ask me what my favorite book is, and, you know, and I was thinking what book I should. But then, of course, there are these serious books which, you know, you have about life and the deeper journey within you. But that's all, everybody's talking about it now. But I said, no, there's these 3 books which actually I really enjoyed reading, because I love history, especially medieval Indian history, which is the Mughal and, you know. So these books were about the Taj. It's called the Taj trilogy by Indu Sundaresan.
Okay.
It's about Mehrun Nisa, who went on to become Noor Jahan. She was one of the most powerful Mughal empress of India, and you know, it was such a. It took me back to those times and how they were living, and you know, it's very unusual because it showed how women were also so powerful in those days, because nobody talks about women in those times. But some of these women, they were independent, they were doing their own thing, they were managing big businesses. So it was an eye-opening, you know, book to me also. So I really enjoyed it. It's called The 20th Wife, the first one.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then there are 2 more. So there's the Shadow Princess and Rose, what is that? I forget.
So this is the trilogy.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to read all 3. I mean, you can read just the 20th
Nice.
Wife as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful read.
It's really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Shabana is our Noor Jahan in the family.
Yes.
Yeah. She collects the manuscripts, you know, of those eras, you know, and collects them at home. Yeah, so she's a
for you?
historian. See, I'm a hardcore, you know, businessman used to be. So I read autobiographies of all the successful entrepreneurs in the world. But now, you know, I'm reading a book called Principle, you know, by Ray Dalio. I mean, it's an amazing book, which is, you know, really, he's an amazing guy, you know, who made billions in the financial world. But the journey of what he went through in his life and what is the purpose behind money, you know, is what his Principles is all about. You know, because many times it's easy to make money today by losing principles.
So true.
You know, so I'm reading that, and other thing which is, and I'm currently reading is Transcendence by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. You know, amazing book. You know how science and human life, you know, our religion is interlinked.
Nice.
You know, so these things, I think, as we grow older, you move away from autobiographies, and once you have enough money to survive, you move into philosophy. Correct. So I'm in that journey.
I'm reading a Stoic book
Yeah.
about philosophy, about all the top philosophers, and I forgot the name of the author. He's very famous, but I can send you one. It's a very quick read.
Yeah.
So it's like quotes by all of these philosophers. It's nice because it's all in one book. So you get these things, and it instructs you to only read 1 page per day. So according to that date, which is also nice, you know.
Let me know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll send you one.
Yeah.
And you?
I have 2. So one, I love to read about history. So Sapiens.
You're like your mom, so
I'm
like
a blend,
history.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, Sapiens I think is.
I haven't read it. I
super
have it, but I
interesting.
didn't read it.
It's
And he
just
has another one also. Homo Deus? Or?
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet.
Okay, so
but
tell me about
Sapiens
Sapiens.
is how humans have evolved and we are the civilization we are today in terms of society, how we interact with each other, how that evolved from being, just farmers and a herd group, and then and how just it's amazing. You should read it.
I will. It's big though.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's
big,
intimidating. I'm
but
like,
it's-
yeah, I will.
There's actually now like a graphic novel version of it, which is very nice.
Okay.
In Kinokuniya. So if you prefer a more
I
visual
love
read,
Kinokuniya. I could spend so long. And I always go, no, I'm just going to go. I'm not going to buy any books
No,
because
but-
I already have
yeah.
enough.
I have the
I come back with like 15 emails like, But you don't go wrong. In
Yeah.
buying books, I don't
Yeah.
think you go wrong.
Yeah.
Correct.
And my second book, which I highly recommend, is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
So he talks about, there's so much violence, greed in this world, and it's all because of the human ego. And he talks about how instilled ego is in our thoughts and our lives, and how to break free from it so that the world will be in harmony.
Nice.
That's also super interesting. Yeah, that's my favorite.
I would have said that's also my favorite book, but
Really.
yeah,
Ego, man. Like,
Yeah. It's crazy.
what's funny is Majid, my son, is at 11 years old, and he goes, Baba, what's ego? And I'm like, you're 11. I thought of that question when I was like
19.
20, 30. But it's so interesting that this generation is way more aware. Of course, there are positives and negatives with every generation, but the level of awareness and curiosity and knowledge and access,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And ego, like coming to your point, it's a huge enemy. And your father, I'm sure, can tell us 50 stories of people who could have been 10 times bigger, but their ego destroyed them.
Correct.
It's about pride, and even people kill good relationships because of ego.
Ego.
Families don't talk to each other for 20 years.
Absolutely.
Pride and ego, and it's a big thing. Okay, so this is the summary. What is the one thing you learned as an adult would change the way you see things? You're all adults, so you can answer this now.
I think mine would be the ego, understanding the ego, because it's very hard to actually, a lot of the times you forget, when you get angry or things, you just let your emotions run. But after understanding a little bit how the ego works, you reframe your mind and perspective on a lot of things. So for me, I think that was, a big lesson.
It's coming back to the same point on the ego. What people need to realize is you can't live without it too.
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of people are like, no, I destroyed my ego. It doesn't
No,
exist.
you need it.
We
Yeah.
all have it.
Yeah.
You're a competitor,
Yes.
Faizal. When people told you, no, you can't do this, your ego comes and says, no, why not?
Why
Yeah.
not?
You need it.
Yeah.
You don't have that, you'll not be ruthless. You won't be a go-getter. It's just you need to keep it in check.
Correct. Because you have three types of ego, no? Ego, id-ego, and superego. And these are the... So
Can you repeat them?
Ego, id-ego, and superego.
Interesting.
So this is something which we learned when I was doing my MBA there, correct? So especially on the human resources, it's a huge topic. When you recruit people, we need to figure out that how, you see which band the person is.
Yeah, I need that info.
Correct.
Okay.
It's important.
For sure.
Very important. And I think superego is a killer, and that is where you see. It's very dangerous if you employ a person with a superego. He kills others. Correct. Yeah, he become unreasonable. And so I think we have to work towards that. But I always wonder: is it by birth, or is it by experience in their life? They made it like that. So. Still not figured it out, how we all get different level of egos, So, yeah.
If you read A New Earth, you'll know.
Yeah.
I think ego, also the bad one, is extremely, from the little I've seen, extremely connected to insecurity.
Yeah.
A guy who's insecure or a girl who's insecure, you tell them, this plant is too small. Yeah, but, and they take it personally. I'm like, I'm talking about the plant. He's like, why, you think my taste is bad? I'm like, no, I'm not talking about you. I just said it's small. But he's so insecure, everything they take personally.
It triggers something in them.
And you're like, I'm not even talking to you. It's not about you.
Yeah.
But I noticed Insecurity is so attached. So attached.
And I think if you see the difficulties in others' lives, we really become mellow. I think that's important. I think it's important that, we need to talk to children. Everything is not rosy in what you see here. Right? You need to take them to difficult places, difficult conditions, see how difficult most of the lives are, and that's what we have done with our kids,
It's one of my goals.
Yeah.
I still didn't do it, so I need to copy you.
Yeah.
It's been my to-do list, even before COVID, is that every 2 years, if I can take my kids to a developing country,
Yeah.
otherwise, Faisal, they will never know, no matter what documentary they watch, no matter what they read, you're numb. We're numb to the news.
Correct.
We see kids dying. Yes, we feel sad for a moment, but then after 10 minutes, you're back on.
Absolutely. Ideally, Anas, there are a lot of foundations work in these countries, correct? So you need to send for summer programs. It
Yes.
could be a week.
Yeah, it's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. More than enough. We remember when we had this floods in Kerala. It was one of the bad floods ever happened to Kerala, I think 3 years ago. So our son Zach, volunteered with his friends, one from Syria and one from Sudan, went to India, and was cleaning houses. And when they came back, I asked, what do you think? Dad, one of the best experience in our lives, correct?
Nice.
They still talk about it.
You see.
So I think every parents should make it a point, to send their kids into summer programs in the developing world where they see difficulties in life. They become much better, in my opinion. Yeah.
I really like that. Ms. Shabana, do you want me to repeat the question or you're...
No. So when I read Power of Now, the book before New Earth.
I read that too,
Yeah. That was when it actually struck me that, okay, you have to be present. And because of that, it kind of make me start thinking about myself. I had forgotten myself, all these years being a woman, especially, you get so engrossed in family and work
giving.
and in
That
giving.
you forget yourself, yes.
So at some point, I'd forgotten myself. So it just struck me, no, I have to take care of myself. So I think that was a learning, I've learned, and I'm trying my best to
Be present.
love myself more.
Be
Be
present.
present for sure, but I want to love myself more, and I keep telling that I am enough. I don't need any external validation, or I have to be there for myself first. Yeah.
I do think you're so right, Shabana. I mean, you have to give from something. You have to have that something to give. And if you're responsible for Faizal, Sophiya, your friends, all the people that you're supporting, even their education and all of that, you need to be good first to give. I always say, how can you give what you don't have?
Correct.
If you don't have love for yourself or empathy for yourself or mental health for yourself, people feel it. He will feel it, she will feel it, and all of us have to do this, We have to not forget, I think there is a healthy selfishness.
Yes.
Everybody's like, no, don't be selfish. No, it's self-love. Don't mix self-love with being selfish.
It's like the instruction in the aeroplane. They say before the
Absolutely.
oxygen mask, you put it for yourself first before helping.
How, if you die, you can't help anybody. So true. As always, so lovely. It's like I miss you guys. I enjoyed this conversation truly. I feel we can go on for hours.
I know. But it'll go on for years. Let's continue. I hope our readers enjoy it too.
I think so.
Listeners.
Sorry. Yeah.
I think it's, look, when it comes from a good place,
Yeah.
when it's genuine, I do believe people feel that energy. When you were trying to be someone we're not, I think people feel it.
Correct.
So I'm not worried about that. So yeah, I think any listener who enjoyed this, the KEF Connect session, make sure you check their website, check their social media. I'm doing this promotion genuinely because I actually like the content and I respect the fact that I was telling the whole team, I'll call them family here, that it takes a lot for somebody to dedicate the time and share knowledge. It's a selfless act. It's not a business transaction. It's not. It's an investment in humanity. So a lot of respect there, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Anas.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward.
Thank you.